Broadcasting live to the world, the Kart Racing Network. Scott Falcone is on pole position and Tyler Brooks joins him on the front row. Max Papis and Scott Roberts are row 2. Rob Meyer and Corey Mitchell, row 3. Diego Pelosi and Dean Boyd, row 4. And John Bonanno and Adam Pettit complete the top 10 on row 5. There is Andy Seisman alone on row 13, starting 25th and last. Once again, we thank Rotax Challenge of the Americas for their class sponsorship, which means we're thanking Andy. Who's going to win this one? Not easy to call, is it? Scott Falcone was good enough to win over 14 laps. This is over 20. Scott Falcone is on the left, Tyler Brooks on the right. We're racing, and that's a good start by Andy Seisman, who squeezes out Tyler Brooks. Max Papis goes through into second place, I do believe. Oh, and a couple of guys going grass tracking, and we've had some contact. And one of the drivers taking a wide spin, but still keeps going. So it looks as if we've got everybody through the first 3 turns, but not without a couple of instances of contact. However, Scott Falcone does take the lead at the start. I believe that to be Max Papis that we're seeing now. Kart 677. Well, Scott Falcone was matched for speed initially by Tyler Brooks, but Tyler Brooks just muscled out a little bit, and we've got more contact, taking 2 of the frontish running drivers out, if not absolutely front running drivers. Scott Falcone doesn't know about that. He just comes round to lead after the opening lap. Scott Falcone, Max Papis, Rob Meyer was the 3rd place driver. I hadn't identified Rob Meyer. He's a little bit detached. Rob's under pressure from John Bonanno, is up from 9th to 4th on the opening lap. John Bonanno 4th, Diego Pelosi 5th, Corey Mitchell 6th, Michael Auriemma 7, Dean Boyd 8, Bobby Green 9th at 65 years of age. I repeat that, the guy in 9th place is 65 years of age. And completing the top 10 is Randy Sampson. Tyler Brooks, who started on the front row, has had a desperate time of that opening lap and is not now going to win the Masters Max Championship. Max Papis closing down on Scott Falcone. Scott Falcone still leading at the end of the 2nd lap. But here's a move by Max Papis. And Max Papis, can he be resisted by Scott Falcone? No. And Max Papis takes the lead at the start of lap 3. So Max Papis in kart number 677, taking the lead at the start of the 3rd lap. Max Papis, who's had a very varied as well as successful motorsport career. And for myself as a European, 20-odd years ago, do remember him having Formula 1 drives in Europe. Here's our slow motion replay. There's nothing Scott Falcone can do. If he chops across Max Papis from here, he simply takes both of them out and certainly would not gain the favour of the officials if they were to review the incident. Max Papis then, a little bit untidy there, but has already built a kart length lead over Scott Falcone. Scott Falcone in 2nd place, being pursued by John Bonanno in 3rd. John Bonanno getting closer. It's a good drive by the 3rd place racer in that blue and white race suit. Max Papis, Scott Falcone, the 1 and 2. John Bonanno 3rd. Diego Pelosi in the red race suit is in 4th place. There is Scott Falcone in the red and blue race suit. And these 4 clear of the rest. In 5th place, some distance back, is Corey Mitchell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, gap, 3, 4, bigger gap, and then 5th place driver Corey Mitchell pretty much on his own in relative terms. Behind Corey Mitchell, running 6th, is Michael Auriemma. 7th is Randy Sampson. 8th, Justin Peck. 9th, Salvo Sparacio. And Dean Boyd completes the top 10. Andy Seisman, who started 25th, is up to 12th. Andy Seisman from 25th to 12th in 3 laps. A good drive from the back by the full throttle karting man from California. Scott Falcone staying in touch for sure. John Bonanno getting a little bit closer. Scott Falcone I described as in touch, which he is. but anything else in favour of Max Papis? Another kart length, and you'd have to say that, in fact, I wonder if we are verging on Max Papis having, ooh, that's a 5 kart length lead, isn't it? Let's have a look over the, yeah, Max Papis definitely broken the toe of Scott Falcone now. The margin between them, 0.68 of a second at the end of the 5th lap, the 1/4 race distance. We move into the 2nd quarter. Scott Falcone still second, but John Bonanno getting closer to him. Diego Pelosi in 4th place in that red race suit. You see him there to the right of your screen. John Bonanno in the blue and white race suit there you see to the right of your screen now. He's in 3rd place. Ahead of John Bonanno is Scott Falcone in the red and blue race suit 2nd, but clear by half a dozen lengths, and by, looking on the screen, 0.68 of a second is your race leader. Out of shot at the moment, just coming into shot now, Max Papis. This is the start of lap 7. Here we go. Max Papis leads. Scott Falcone 2nd. John Bonanno in 3rd place. Diego Pelosi 4th. Well, Max Papis in kart 677. He's from Mooresville, Florida, according to my chart. So is there a Mooresville in Florida, or is that a misprint? But Mooresville, Florida, we're speaking to you from Mooresville, North Carolina. Max Papis mounted on a Tony kart. Behind John Bonanno 3rd is Diego Pelosi 4th in that red race suit. Then comes the gap to Corey Mitchell 5th. Little bit more of a gap, or not a little bit more of a gap, but another gap, I should say, to Michael Oriema running 6th, Randy Sampson 7th, Justin Peck 8th, Salvos Faracio 9th, and Dean Boyd completing the top 10. And just outside the top 10, now up to 11, Andy Seisman. We're on lap 8 of the Masters Final, sponsored by Rotax Challenge of the Americas. Max Papis leads it by a healthy margin. Scott Falcone, it has to be said, is in a healthy 2nd place, and when I mean health, when I say healthy, I mean not under immediate attack. Much more close is the battle for 3rd place, which is John Bonanno in the blue-white race suit, pursued by kart number 622, Diego Pelosi in the red race suit. Pelosi there you see in 4th place. These are the two we're following for the time being. Max Papis, Scott Falcone go through, but then a closer battle. 672 is John Bonanno, 622 is Diego Pelosi. John Bonanno has just done a 49.775. Diego Pelosi's done a 49.772. So if we say that John Bonanno is being caught by the guy behind, yes he is, but to the tune of just 2/1000ths of a second on that lap. So there's still work to do by Diego Pelosi. And the 5th place driver coming into view, Corey Mitchell, is a lot closer now, as you can see. That's Corey Mitchell in the white helmet to the upper left of your screen. He's in 5th place, and he's not so far behind Diego Pelosi, is he? This is the start of lap 10. Max Papis, Scott Falcone, John Bonanno, Diego Pelosi in the middle of your picture there in red is running 4th. And Corey Mitchell in the blue and white with the white helmet is running 5th. There are 3rd, 4th and 5th. They are 3rd, 4th and 5th racing on the circuit. John Bonanno, Diego Pelosi and Corey Mitchell. Coming round towards the half race distance in the Rotax Max Masters Final of the 2013 US Grand Nationals, sponsored by Challenge of the Americas, whose Mr. Andy Seisman is knocking on the door of the top 10. Halfway, 10 laps gone, 10 to go. You're looking at kart 677, that of Max Papis, who started on the inside of row 2. 3rd in the pre-final, right now going into the 2nd half of the Masters Final with a lead of a full second, 1.037 of a second. A full second lead for Max Papis. But still that good scrap behind him. John Bonanno is pulled a little bit clearer in 3rd place, but Diego Pelosi in 4th. being pursued by Corey Mitchell in 5th. This is the battle. Diego Pelosi in the red race suit, Corey Mitchell in the blue race suit. The top 2 drivers at the top of your screen, they are 4th and 5th on track. This is the closest battle that we can bring you at the moment. Our pictures show you the distance by which Max Papis leads Scott Falcone. He's increased that lead marginally to 1.069 of a second. It's only marginal, but nevertheless, Max Papis pulling away. This is lap 12. John Bonanno having broken away from Diego Pelosi in 4th place. John Bonanno feeling relatively comfortable in 3rd, but John Bonanno aware of the threat behind him, posted by Corey Mitchell. This is lap 12. A race leader, Max Papis, already on the home straightaway. This is 3rd, 4th and 5th. John Bonanno 3rd, Diego Pelosi 4th, Corey Mitchell 5th. And whereas we were correctly saying to you that Corey Mitchell looked to be closing on Diego Pelosi a couple of laps or so ago, 1.5 laps or so ago, right now Diego Pelosi in that red race suit looking to be holding off. Well, no sooner have I said that the gap's getting a little bit wider, then all of a sudden it looked like game on once more. Corey Mitchell is kart number 5. You see him there in your screen. He's chasing down the 4th place driver, Diego Pelosi. Diego Pelosi is a little bit further behind 3rd place driver, John Bonanno, who in turn is well down on Scott Falcone, 2nd place, and your race leader that you see in shot now, Max Papis. Max Papis sweeping round this infield. So sweeping onto this little left-right switch, then the right-hander, onto the fastest part of the circuit, the technical infield portion. Max Papis driving alone in the lead. Oh, looking down there and touching the carburetor, was it? Don't know if Max Papis wondered if something was wrong there. Sweeping down to complete lap 14. So, late in the 3rd quarter of this 20-lap race, because this is lap 15. Peter Bonanno has 3.35 of a second on Diego Pelosi, and when I was calling a lap and a half ago of the evaporation of that close dice, it suddenly gets a little bit closer again. 0.35 of a second doesn't take long if you asked to write how many countries in the world you can think of in 0.35 of a second. You can barely write down USA or UK. But in the racing terms, that's quite a bit of work to do to fetch that back. However, there remains a full quarter of the race, 5 laps to go, including the one that they're starting now, because this is lap 16. And you can see that gap has come down. Our caption at the top of the screen has increased 0.479. So that the evidence of your eyes is that John Bonanno is holding off the challenge of Diego Pelosi. Corey Mitchell still 5th, Michael Auriemma still 6th, Randy Sampson 7, Salvo Esperacio 8, Justin Peck 9, and Tyler Brooks now completing the top 10. Max Papis is well clear of this battle, but this battle is a little bit closer than Max is to his closest challenger. Scott Falcone already starts lap 17. He's now got 2 full seconds on Scott Falcone's 2nd, and Scott Falcone has got 2.6 seconds on John Bonanno 3rd, Diego Pelosi 4th, Corey Mitchell 5th, and this is the scrap that we're looking at, because although they're not wheel to wheel, it is the closest dice in the race at the moment, because everybody else in the top 10 is well spread. Max Papis then, all alone, very, very experienced, as indeed are most of these Masters by the very nature of the game. If you're a Masters driver, you've been around a few years, you've raced a fair few races, but Max Papis has done it at a really high level, dipping his head against the fairly reasonable breeze here at GoPro Motorplex, Mooresville, North Carolina. Sweeping round, well into the final quarter of this race. In fact, we're at the 7/8 race distance. Sorry to be a little bit pedantic with the numbers, but 1/8 of the race remaining, which equates to 2.5 laps. And Max Papis still within the sight of Scott Falcone, but with a clear 2 seconds gap. That's certainly the advantage that you would not expect to be beaten down in the remaining couple of laps, or couple of laps and couple of turns. Max Papis then starts lap 19. The lead, which was 2.0, is up to 2.4 seconds, 2.39 if you will. And John Bonanno in third place is another 2.5 seconds behind Scott Falcone. So Scott Falcone's game plan now is very clear, as it has been for some time. I can't catch Max Papis unless something disastrous happens to him. I'm not likely to be caught by John Bonanno in third place. Let me just drive within myself, look after the car, nurse it home, and I've got a safe second place and a vice championship tag. So sweeping round once more onto the home straightaway. One more lap to go, one more lap, 0.7 of a mile standing between Max Papis and the championship. Max Papis driving all he has to do safely on the tarmac within the white lines, nothing dramatic called for. 2.5 seconds was his cushion at the end of the 19th lap. Only a mega misfortune can take the championship from him. Max Papis sweeping round, one more turn to go. Ladies and gentlemen, the Masters Max champion of 2013 is Max Papis. Max Papis wins it. Max Papis wins it by 2.8 seconds from Scott Falcone second, John Bonanno third, Diego Pelosi fourth, Corey Mitchell fifth, Michael Auriemma sixth, Randy Sampson seventh, Tyler Brooks eighth, Justin Peck 9, and Andy Seisman from last on the grid in 25th place gets himself a top 10 finish in 10th. So sometimes it's helpful if the kart race announcer helps you. Sometimes the pictures speak for yourself. If nobody will give me a checkered flag, I will get a checkered flag.